two ninjas spoiling movies.
Yeah,
And Brandon Collins.
that's me.
It's Justin Brown for your movie needs. Medium popcorn.
Woo!
You haven't seen it, well, we're gonna spoil it.
Who's the master?
Well, that's your warning.
Uh.
And if you get pissed, it's all your fault. Ooh, ooh. Ooh, ooh.
What's up, little biscuits and sun-dried tomatoes? It's your boy Eddie Collins,
Guys, and it's Justin Brown.
and we are Medium Popcorn. But you already knew that, because you love us and you subscribe and you want to hear what we're talking about next. And we are talking about on this episode, Smile 2.
Ooh, doggy.
Ooh, 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 ooh. This is, of course, the sequel, the 2024 sequel to Smile, which and also it's a short that helped kick off the feature film. That came out in 2022. And man, I gotta shout out the writer director Parker Finn, because this is exactly what you're supposed to do with a fucking sequel.
Yeah.
Like I'm Smile freaks me the fuck out. There's a lot of really gruesome, violent shit in that, but this is exactly like when I heard that it's about a musical artist and stuff like that. I'm like, they executed this amazingly.
Yeah. And like he really turned up the tension.
And he gave himself enough room. Because initially I thought what was going to be the whole plot of this was going to be how it ended. So he gave himself enough room to end on an incredible moment that really sets up a sequel, and be able to be like, I gave myself some time to figure this shit out. Because now we're playing on a different level.
Yeah.
The way it ends. But, it was great that, like, if you saw Smile, this really does, like, continue that story. Because you're like, oh, what happened to the cop that saw her burning herself at the end? Right. Yeah. Which is great because it sets up, hey, even your main character can get it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Everybody gets it.
Like, we're not looking at a final girl situation right now.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, who would continue, like, instead we kind of have a final guy. And you got this guy, Joel, who basically he needs to kill someone and from another person to pass on the entity. Right? So was that the rule in Smile? I haven't seen Smile since we last reviewed it.
No, the thing killed it. The person killed itself in front of you, and and then that's how it's able to jump into you, so. I guess the best way it's kind of like it's like a demon, but it's also like a parasite. So it latches onto a host, and then it feeds off of their grief and their fear. Until it basically
got it. Okay. Because I'm like, then why did it matter that the dude from the White Lotus, the drug dealer, witnessed him? So there's first Joel, I guess he knows where these drug dealers are or some shit like that. He goes into this house and basically he slices up a dude. That was fucking gnarly from bottom to the top, from the root to the tuta. In front of one dude, but then he shoots him because that guy tries to shoot him, right? And then he's starting to bleed out, and he's like, "No, you have to live." Yeah, because that guy just witnessed it, right? So my whole thing is, does it have to be you that's doing the violent thing, or you just have to do a traumatic, violent act to make someone?
Well, in actuality, I feel like this, because I had the same question, because
I mean,
this kind of changed it up because nobody else was able to do that. Everyone else, killed themselves, but obviously he was pretty conscious of what was going on, and he was just like, all right, well, if I do something like really fucked up in front of somebody else, maybe I can pass it.
Yeah.
And then obviously, he was looking for somebody who deserved it. But there's a lot of questions. There's a lot of questions with that opening scene. Other than that, I feel like after that opening scene, I'm good. But that did confuse me because it's like, all right, so how did he get it? Considering that he didn't watch somebody commit suicide.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
But also,
Oh,
hold on, real quick. But also, he didn't necessarily see the act happening. You know what I'm saying? Because he was behind them. So he kind of missed a
we
lot
don't
of.
know how long he was there witnessing what transpired.
Yeah, but he's still behind them. He so
True.
like even he was there the entire time. So it seemed like he was sitting at that table, but he
So,
wasn't he didn't get to see all this stuff go down necessarily because from his viewpoint or his vantage point, he wouldn't actually see him like what he did to that because
mm,
that was rough. That was crazy what he did to that drug dealer's brother or whatever. So,
yeah.
like, if that's the case, then why did this thing jump into him? Other than the fact is like when they were shooting at each other, and he's so like I don't get it.
I mean, I was thinking maybe it's like the entity drops when it like the host dies, it jumps onto the person with the most trauma next or something like that.
Well, because now it could also be as like the entity realized like okay, this kid's about to die, and there's nobody else, so then it jumped to him because the
That's
guy
what I was thinking.
died.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because the whole point is at the end, she's trying to basically stop her heartbeat. So the entity basically thinks it's dead. She's dead and moves on.
yeah,
Right. And so that's why I was thinking, like, when you think Joel thinks that well, he doesn't know that he's free. He's just trying to get the fuck out of that house because the other drug dealers show up to kill him.
yeah,
When they realize that he comes out the house all covered in blood, so they're like, "Well, what the fuck did he just do?"
yeah.
And he's able to get out the house. And then you think he thinks he's getting free. He's running across the street and gets hit by a pickup truck.
Ugh.
Great. I mean, the jump scares they became a lot at one point, but this movie executed some great shit and great
Yeah.
camera work, man.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like,
Because
what
like
was that? What
no,
was that sound?
no, I'm just saying because it's bro that impact and like how that it just came out of nowhere. I was just like, whoa,
And then Smile 2 popped up. I was like, oh yeah, he's feeling himself.
yeah,
The
yeah.
director was feeling himself in this one.
But also at the same time, I gotta say, like that opening scene visually looked really good.
Yes.
The way it was
Yeah.
shot, it looked really, really. Actually, this whole movie was
This
shot.
whole movie, because I was gonna say, like, when we got to the rehearsal scene, when we meet the main girl, Sky Riley,
Yeah, played
I
by
was
Naomi
like,
Scott. Mm-hmm.
yeah, I was like, oh, Naomi did the work. She put herself into this. Because that wasn't a lazy kind of dance sequence that you did, like, she did.
But she's a singer. She's an artist.
Oh, she was like, she's an actual performer and stuff like that.
Yeah, she's a performing artist on top of being an actress.
Okay, interesting.
So like it's kind of her world.
Oh, she got her start on the Disney Channel. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. But I mean, she did her thing on this. Because Sky Riley basically is she's coming back from
Dance
having
speaking about is very sexy.
who?
That dance sequence that they were doing.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Very
There's
sexy. The
and
a lot of the performances were very. I was like, oh yeah, okay, I could see myself watching this.
oh yeah, they did a good job, making her seem like a legit pop artist and stuff like that. And she's beautiful in this movie. And the thing is, they would use that to kind of like, especially as a guy to let your guard down because you're kind of like, oh, she's looking good. And then they would do a fucking crazy ass jump scare.
Mm-hmm.
Like with the leg break during that live sexy ass performance
It,
rehearsal they did. And then she thought that she broke her leg again from her car crash. That fucked me up.
yeah.
Why did they do that to me? I was like, oh man, this is sexy. Ah, a broken leg sticking out the skin.
Um. Oh God. Yeah. There were just like a few times throughout this where they really, actually, who she reminded me of? She really gave me like Gaga vibes.
Well, that's who, according to UBS Trivia, our producer, that was her main inspiration
Well,
for Sky Riley.
Nailed it. Nailed it.
Yeah, it was interesting because she's coming up for a year of like having substance abuse issues, and her boyfriend was killed in the tragic accident when they were both in the car. We later learned that she's the one that caused the accident because they were both sniffing coke and getting into a huge argument, and then she basically made them crash the car.
Yeah,
and that actor is Jack Nicholson's much less talented son, Ray Nicholson. who basically didn't have any lines until we got to that one flashback. But he has a creepy ass smile, just like his dad.
Wait, Jack Nicholson has a son who's only 32? Man, he's just shooting that powder out, huh? Him, Al Pacino, fucking who's the other dude?
Robert De Niro.
Robert De Niro, he's shooting that powder out.
Well, man, to be God still.
Yeah, I mean that just shows, guys, it's never over. It's never over. Yeah, so did
You okay?
this chick though, I'm just thinking about like I can't help but seeing some of the visuals. The visuals are nuts in this.
Oh yeah, when she goes, so we find out that Sky is still addicted to pills because of her back pain from the accident.
Well, no, she's not addicted to pills. She actually legitimately needs them because the pain is so severe. But because of the fact that she has a history with drug abuse, they won't give her anything stronger than Tylenol. So,
Got it.
You know, having growing up with somebody who actually did have a drug problem that was pretty serious, went through the same thing. He got a condition and he was in like severe pain, and literally they wouldn't give him anything stronger than like Tylenol, and like that wasn't enough. So she was in pain constantly. Yeah. It's like, my friend. So it's like that's a real thing that happens to somebody, you know, if you've been abusing drugs. It's just like you're gonna screw yourself over once you're trying to recover as well. And it's like, we're talking about years and years down the road. So it's like, it's not just like, oh, I've been in recovery for like 2 years and like, you know, they won't give me. It's like, no, I've been in recovery for like 10 years. I haven't touched anything and they still won't give you.
Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, because we see that it gets triggered when she does that rehearsal. And her back gets hurt. And then she reaches out to her drug dealer, who is the white dude played by Lucas Gage, who witnessed the initial altercation with Joel and everything. And basically, this dude is fucking nutso. Like, she arrives at his apartment and he's all fucking crazy. He's got a fucking samurai sword to her neck.
Yeah.
We also find out that Sky used to rip out her hair when she's under stress, which comes to importance later in the movie. But yeah, man, I thought like I was like, well, Lewis is gonna kill her because Devin in the movie. So I was like, all right, I can calm down on this part. My anxiety, I was like, anxiety, chill out, right? But then, you know, he's looking all shifty eyed, and then he goes into the room. She like is waiting for him. She's like, hey, what's taking so long, Lewis? Lewis walks up towards the darkness. This nigga comes running out like a Hereditary, and then it's just like, what's going on? Forms that fucking smile and starts bashing his head in with the weight. Yeah. And we literally see the skin being scraped off with each bash. It was fucking crazy.
Bro, it's that's again, they did a really good job with this. And the gore was just like, holy crap.
Yeah. Yeah. And she's like Sky like wants to call 911, but then she sees all the drugs around. She's like, this will end the tour. I'm sure she, the same things that went through Justin Timberlake's head went through her head, which is it's probably gonna ruin the tour. And the guy's gonna be like, what tour? And he's gonna be like, the world tour.
Get in the car, sir.
And then she does vomit. She throws up, and I love that she Googled later can vomit like be linked to your DNA at crime scenes.
Yes.
I was like, Sky, ooh, and you got the history
DNA all over this place. Yes, 100%.
It's like, you better hope your lawyer is able to get this evidence of your text messages taken out.
Well, that too.
You know what I mean? Because otherwise, you're writing some incriminating shit here in the Google.
Yeah.
Well, and also, if she's a superstar, the way they made it seem, all those apps are monitoring the fuck out of what she's doing. But come on, if you're Apple, right, and you're an app, and you know that this celebrity, like a Kylie Jenner or a fucking Britney Spears, is using your app. Like if you're Instagram and you see how much Selena Gomez and them interact, you'd be like, all right, we're going to do everything we can to get into her device and see what she does.
I don't necessarily I think that because you're a big pop star and you have that much money and access, it's like you have the money, power, and influence for them to actually not tap into your shit and give out all your information. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I would say it's the opposite in some ways, but I can see why you say that though. But like I don't think so.
Okay.
In her case.
Okay. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think that like Apple's just like, oh man, we got this pop star. Like, let's get into all their shit. So like, because like you would have so much more shit being leaked all the time about people. He's like,
I'm sure,
like,
unless they're having quiet conversations. They can be having quiet conversations with the person, be like, hey, so let me just show you some files on the screen right here. So them like jerking off because the webcam, it's their search history, it's like the kind of apps they use that they're not supposed to be using.
Time out, Brandon. So basically, you are accusing Apple, Samsung, and all of these companies.
Hey, your words not mine.
No.
Your words not mine.
You are in a roundabout way saying that they are all Diddy. They are straight up just using this to blackmail people and get them to do their biddings.
Maybe. Hey, listen, if Leonardo DiCaprio starts doing a movie for fucking because TikTok is trying to get into feature films or some shit, or no, Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A is trying to get into feature films. If you see Leonardo DiCaprio doing the inaugural Chick-fil-A film, you're gonna know that they fucking hacked him when he downloaded that app to get that spicy chicken sandwich, and they know every one of Leo's secrets. These apps are out of control, man. All right. Yo, she's lucky that her friend came through though. That friend Gemma, because the last messages she wrote to her were like, "Eat shit, bitch."
Yeah. Well, I mean, the more you watch the film, you realize that Gemma did not come through.
Yeah, right. Okay, that's what that was, right? She never actually reconciled with Gemma.
No.
Okay, because when it goes back to her text, it starts back up with the "eat shit, bitch." Like they never interacted after that.
Yeah.
So that was a while. There's some interesting plot twists where you're like, oh, that never actually happened. And you didn't feel cheated by it because it's a fucked up.
Yeah.
Like, with her mom, the momager and stuff like that, and the outburst when, she passes out after basically being attacked by her, background dancers as the entity. And shit like that. She wakes up in a,
that part was crazy.
Yeah, but so well done. Well done. And she wakes up in the wellness facility. And her mom basically goes in on her, but like, yo, if you cancel this tour again, this will be your second tour that you cancel, and you'll never come back from this, and we're gonna lose everything we built. And she's like, everything we built, why you want to care about that, mama? She's like, God fucking damn it, I'm your mama, I deserve nice things. Smile, stab in the throat.
Yep, stab, rip.
She broke that mirror, bro, with her fist. I was like, well, I put my head down. I just started drumming on the table. I just say, well, this is going to end well.
I hurt myself today.
You're just like, this isn't going to be good, either for Sky or the mom. And it turned out the mom wasn't great for her because she stabbed herself several times in the throat. And, Sky goes through it. Like, this is a rough way to live your last few days of life.
Yeah. Well, but that's the thing. Like, so when this thing infects you, you don't know which way is up. Like literally, you have no idea, what's real, what's not. The best thing that you can do is literally quarantine yourself from everybody and just stay there. But you can't even necessarily do that because, how do you know that that's real?
Yep. That's what's so fucking crazy about it. But that's why everyone, like, you encountered with it. That's why Joel was all fucking crazy by the time we meet up with him at the beginning. That's why Lucas Gage's character is fucking nuts. So when Sky goes to visit him, like, you become unhinged very, very quickly. Yeah. I mean, at that awards ceremony or whatever she was speaking at, and then she sees the image of her dead boyfriend approaching her, and then has flashes of him next to her and shit. I was like, yo, if she can't function, it's ruining her career.
Yeah. Well, no, it's just ruining her life. Like her career is like,
yeah, but you can't be having a public outburst at her celebrity with the controversy around her, and you have like people are watching her. Basically, she presented the award to her dead boyfriend. So people are either going to be like, she had a crazy mental breakdown, or she's doing drugs again. Neither story is good for her.
Yeah, true.
So like, you know what I mean? That's why I'm like, yeah, it's her life, but also, you know, your life can continue. Like you can go through some hard shit where like you come off crazy and you can get the help you need or whatever. But then like, if you do a public meltdown, I think that's what was interesting about this movie is trying to say about fame. It's like, there's no coming back from that. There's no nuance or empathy towards that.
Well, it's also it's like this, the entity already killed her, technically, before it actually killed her. You know what I'm saying? Because it killed her her public perception. It killed her publicly. So it's like she's dead man walking in the sense of just like, because you know her, like you said, her career's over, and like, and in a lot of cases, like with somebody of her celebrity and also with the problems that she had before, it's not
going to end well.
Story, yes, it's bad. It's a bad run.
I would love. I know they're making another Final Destination that's already been filmed. It's called Bloodlines. I think we'll be getting a trailer of it within the next few months. I would love to see this writer director though take a shot at the Final Destination series.
Yeah,
especially with the opening and like, because I did not expect that to be like how Joel's story ended when he just got hit by that. I was like, oh shit. And this is after attempts like, you know, the way they shot it, where he's getting shot at and stuff. So you're so distracted by the people in the distance that when the thing right in front of you happens, you're like, holy shit. And I think like that kind of execution would be fantastic in like a franchise like Final Destination. But that's if he wants to stay, this person wants to stay in the horror genre, you know, like for all we know, they could maybe be like, all right, now I know I could do this shit in horror. Let me try sci-fi or some other genre. You know what I mean?
Or just action. Because that's a good, it was a great action sequence. But even so, just you know, having a drama just or an intense thriller, you know, it's not like more, you know, it's not as like horror supernatural like this is could be really good.
Well, that's what I was going to say is, and this is where I'm going to straighten up my back a little bit because I think that it warrants this conversation going forward, at least with this topic. So if I were Parker, the director, writer, Parker, Finn, I would attribute a lot of success to this movie. Obviously, he and the cinematographer, Charlie Staroff, did a lot of work. The crew did a lot of work to execute how well this movie is shot and edited, right? Mm. But this movie doesn't work without Naomi Scott's performance. Yeah. And I think that, you know, I read a lot of reviews before, like saying Naomi Scott actually deserves like some awards talk. Like she's that fucking good. Mm. And after seeing her performance, that's not facetious. Like I think, you know, it reminded me of how much women particularly are overlooked in the horror genre, especially when it comes to awards recognition, especially in the past, like I would say 10, 15 years. Because I think about this performance, I think about Toni Collette and Hereditary. As much as I didn't like the movie overall, you cannot deny that was the similar in this genre of like people losing their fucking minds. Same with Florence Pugh, I thought of Midsommar. And then, of course, the biggest snub, Lupita Nyong'o for Us. Mm-hmm. You know, in the horror genre. And so I'm hoping maybe there's some way to rectify this, you know, especially since, let's be honest, Naomi Scott is an attractive young actress that's, you know, on the come up. And so how it might be like, oh, this is an opportunity for us to kind of get in at the bottom floor of like a really talented artist and start, you know, recognizing them. Because I thought she went above and beyond the assignment. If I'm being honest with you, a sequel to a modestly successful horror film where she's never, to my knowledge, Naomi Scott's never worked in this genre. I
mean, she was in Power Rangers.
I think we both kind of liked the reboot.
No, we did.
But yeah, it's disappointing it didn't go anywhere because I thought that was a great cast. And you know, Becky G especially, she's never been bigger. But the kid who played the Red Ranger or whatever, was that before or after he blew up on Stranger Things? It's before, right? Because I think if Stranger Things had come out before, you think the Power Rangers movie was after?
Yeah,
I'll check because he joined in season 2. I was just thinking like it would be because that movie that season blew him up,
Yeah.
right? And it would be. I wonder if it came out after Power Rangers. That's unfortunate because I think if it had been the other way around, Power Rangers might have been a hit because we were the dude who played Billy in Stranger Things is deleting this, but it is what
True.
it is.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't.
But again, going back to Naomi Scott, I just thought that her performance as Sky Riley just is phenomenal. Like the physical, emotional demands, like when she's freaking out, like I felt it's you feel so bad for her because like obviously she did some shitty things, and she acknowledges, I think halfway through, like I'm a terrible person, like I have put a lot of people I love through a lot of painful things. So, like she's got remorse, like genuine remorse. But I guess that's the thing with horror films is even as remorseful as much as you try to take back things, when the devil calls for you.
Listen, rhythm is gonna get you, baby. The rhythm is gonna get you tonight. Do.
Because that's the honest truth, and that's what I appreciate about this movie, the series so far. And they'll probably do a plot twist in one of the sequels where actually, the person does survive, right? Who gets the entity? But yeah, I mean, this ending continues the same trajectory of like, hey, they ain't getting off of this. It's just yeah, and the entity is so much stronger now.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of things we need to figure out about what's going on with this thing.
So I think basically from the hospital, her waking up in the hospital, I think everything after that until she is on stage at the end is made up by the entity.
So here's the thing. I don't think that I don't think that I don't think that you can really say that because I don't think that guy who knew, like, who was trying to help her kill it or whatever, I don't think he was real. I don't think he was real.
Yeah, maybe.
And also everything before the hospital, like I think, I don't think the hospital actually happened.
I can see that. I can see where she passes out for the vision, and then basically she blacks out until the performance.
Yeah.
So maybe everything since she wakes up in the hospital is just the entity.
Yeah.
Which is wild because that's a lot of the movie, but also probably for the best. I mean, she still gets got at the end, but in her vision under the entity, she breaks out. Her mom kills herself under the entity's powers,
and
frames her. She basically has to, like, at gunpoint fight her way out of the building. She then steals her driver's car and speeds off to this like abandoned Pizza Hut to meet up with this dude and her best friend. And then we basically find out that neither one exists because she gets put in the freezer. He's like, hey, here's a syringe to basically stop your heart. He goes out the room, which is horror movie no number one rule.
Yeah, that's when you knew that something was awry.
Yeah, and so then the entity comes. It's in the form of her being fucking strapped upside down from the car crash. Fucking crazy visual how they did that.
Yeah.
And basically gets into her mouth. But then she puts the syringe in. I know it sounds dirty. Puts a syringe in, and she thinks that she stopped the fucking entity. And this is what, for me, this is as a performer, this is the scariest thing that you could ever fucking happen. I used to have nightmares about shit like this happening, where you black out and then you on stage for an important show, and it's like, do you know it?
Go.
Because she's lifted on stage at Madison Square Garden, and she's looking like, and I would be like, yo, do you know the choreography? Do you know the beats? Because if not, this is going to be a messy, messy show.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just one of those things. You're just like, hey, good luck. It's like, oh, I guess good luck, and enjoy that.
Yeah. Just hope. I hope you can at least catch the beat. So,
and mind you, so this is a 2-hour film.
Yes,
it's a 2-hour film, but this is a tense 2 hours.
Oh yeah,
they're running you through the gambit.
Oh yeah, as soon as homie Joel gets hit by that truck, I was like, well, this is gonna be fun.
Mm-hmm. Strap in.
I was like, well, I'm in trouble now. This is not gonna be. It's not gonna be fun. I mean, it was creepy.
Well, yeah, of course.
Yo, even before that little girl with the smile and the line for the autographs and shit, when my man with the rash or whatever the fuck, which is being creepy, I was like, uh oh. By the way, I never told you this. When I went to Comic-Con last week, I went for a day, and at the autograph section, there's like a Casper Van Dien and Denise Richards were next to each other for Starship Troopers. And Casper Van Dien, bless his heart, he was there, but he had no one in his line. Denise Richards' line was full of nothing but like balding, overweight, 40-year-old dudes who clearly like their first whack off was Denise Richards, like
Yep.
wild things. It was hilarious.
That must just be wild. That just must be wild. The fact that it's just like, oh, all these guys have busted nuts to me. You know what I'm saying? And you can just tell. You can tell by their sweaty palms, the look of fucking lust in their eyes, the yearning that you could. It's in their breath. Like it's palpable. You could smell it. You could taste it in the air. Their hot breath just breathing up. Like that must be fucking so scary.
Yeah.
Like to be like a really like an exceptionally attractive woman or not even except like just an attractive woman or just a woman and you just know it's just like, hey, you're at a club or you're at a bar and it's 4:00 and you know those guys are sitting there, their eyes start peering around the room just looking for their victim, and then they lock eyes with you. That must be a lot to deal with. A lot.
Yeah.
You know what they want. Question is, are you there to give it to them? 9 out of 10, you're not.
You know who wasn't there to give him to him was Sky's momager, who was actually terrible at her job.
No, she was exactly what she was. She was exactly what they are like. They're all like that. Come on now.
I mean, she didn't tell her daughter to fix her lipstick before she went on to read from that teleprompter at that gala or whatever. I mean, she sees her daughter freak out and push an old lady off the stage.
Again, I don't think that happened.
You don't think the whole awards thing happened?
I don't think it happened.
Well, that would mean so much of this movie is just a vision in her mind.
Well, but that's the thing. That's the thing about the like. This thing is very Freddy Krueger-esque, and that's why I like it, because you don't know which way is up, right? So you don't know whether you're sleeping, you don't know whether you're awake, what's going on, because her friend, what was her name? Gemma. She was never she was never in her life at any point throughout this entire film. It's like we find that out later. And it's just like there are things about this entity. It's just like, so you don't know if it's like she got this thing and she went to rehearsal and everything and she was completely fine. But this thing was in her head and it fucked her up for days to the point where she doesn't even know anything that was going on. And she may have been fine because this thing was like, oh, you're you're Sky, whatever. And like, this is an opportunity. So it kept her normal, but then it stayed in her head and just fucked her up in completely different ways. She could have just been a zombie floating throughout her days, just doing everything normal. But that's what makes this so cool, is because there is so much ambiguity as to what's really going on and what's like what's really happening.
And you don't feel cheated in any way about that?
No, because they set up the world in a way where that is okay. Especially this one, because this one gave a lot of context into what this thing is, and we actually got to see it. Terrifying.
Yeah, when it came out of the mouth. Well, first of all, when it basically rips her open.
Yeah.
So are they saying that she had that scar on her stomach?
No, yeah, she did. She had the scar from the accident.
Okay, that's why she always wore those outfits that kind of covered her midriff and stuff.
Yeah.
When it rips open the wound from her chest and basically her skin flaps to the side and it starts coming out. It's just all these smiles and this fucking yeah,
And it's like huge.
yeah, and
it enters her mouth like
and it enters her mouth, and she basically, from an honest perspective, it's like she's choking, and then it does actually, because you're so used to the violence of people self-impaling themselves with things at this point that you're kind of like, okay, she's going to do something with that microphone, because we see Sky with this huge smile posting on all the jumbotrons at MSG, and then we see the audience reaction. It's just the camera's just on the audience reacting to her stabbing herself in the eye, with the microphone. And I thought that was such a brilliant choice, and because you really see the scope of now what this entity is reaching.
Well, it's also because, like, all right, we don't understand what the scope is, because, like, you know, you
don't know who's watching online. We don't,
because probably live streaming online. What if it's like a thing that's in the movie theaters? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, did this infect, like, 40,000 people, or did this just infect about 250,000 people? Is it getting one person, or does it, or can it split itself into everyone? And if it does split itself into everything, that's world ending. It's gonna, like, that's world ending.
Yeah,
there's no stop it at this point.
Yeah, that's what the third one's for, I guess. Lluvia in her trivia found that the scar on Sky's knee is in the shape of a smile. Nice little Easter egg there.
So hold on, real quick before you go, because before I forget about this. So when you remember she was at the bar and she was talking to the guy who was just like, if you kill yourself and da 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 da.
Yes.
If you saw right over her right hand shoulder written on the seat, "You're fucked."
Nope.
Yeah. Right over his shoulder was written. It was written on the back of the seat, "You're fucked."
I think there's a lot of probably foreshadowing and like other like things in the background to indicate like this isn't going to be a happy ending for Sky.
Well, yeah. I mean, I knew it wasn't going to be a happy ending, but
she's so hot though.
That's why I was kind of just like, I don't think this is real. I think it was just playing with her and was giving her false hope, just to, and it was just stringing her along down this long road. So then when she gets on that stage, she knows it's over.
That makes sense. Your theory about her kind of just sleepwalking through everything. But obviously she had to be performing at least to the level where they're like, this concert's still going to happen, because all the things that she's gone through emotionally and just physically up to where she blacks out and gets on stage would be too much for her to be able to handle doing that situation in real time. Given everything that she thinks she has handled physically and stuff like that, she wouldn't be able to do it.
Yeah.
Because even when she's escaping the hospital, she's barefoot and then she steps on the glass, which was I was like, Jesus Christ. And so yeah, I mean, you're probably right that maybe a third of this movie is probably all the entity, if not more.
Yeah, which is crazy. Because like the moment she started getting those texts from an unknown number and all that, I was just like, I don't know what's real.
Yeah, it is very tricky like that, but at the same time, it also could be moments that are real. We as an audience get disoriented a lot because of the jump scares and the quick jumps to different things that are happening to Sky, because it's supposed to show just the ramping up her losing her mind.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, I thought it was still like, even though it's a little over 2 hours, I thought it was still very well paced, because even the slow moments, they're full of tension and they don't last long at all.
Yeah.
There's very few quiet moments, and there's a lot of, I think a lot of the length is extended because of the long shots on Naomi Scott's face reacting to the traumatic shit she's seeing in front of her.
Yeah.
Right. And then when her mom was stabbing herself and she was, ripping out the IV.
Yeah.
Holy shit, man. She still didn't get it as bad as Jenna Ortega, but physically, her character goes through a lot in this movie.
Yeah. Ugh.
I recently watched Scream 5 again, and I'm like, yo, why would Jenna, or I was like, I used to have the theory Baby Tara's and, behind everything in the new sequel. I'm like, I would never put myself through that. She got stabbed like 9 times.
Yeah.
Once through the hand, and she definitely got stabbed in both kidneys. Like, you supposed to be dead.
Yeah, you don't come back from that.
No. Same with the brother. The brother in the first in Scream 5 gets stabbed 8 times.
Yeah.
And then in the sequel, Scream 6, he gets stabbed like 9 more times.
Yeah.
That's he would be in the Guinness Book of World Records if he was stabbed that many times and lived.
Motherfuckers is fucking the 50 Cent of stab wounds.
That's what I was gonna say. 50 Cent got shot 9 times, and they're like, man, that nigga's like, he's an anomaly. A stab wound's way deeper than a fucking gunshot.
I mean, not necessarily, but
The way he was getting stabbed, he got stabbed in the abdomen, bro.
yeah,
It's nothing but precious meat and organs over there. It's nothing but the good stuff.
precious meat.
Yo, when she had the vision of the background dancers ripping her hair out and pulling out her mouth and shit. Whew.
Yeah,
There's a lot of face
like
ripping in this.
Put its hand down her throat.
Yeah, fist in her mouth. That was weird.
Yeah, that was a lot. That was a lot. So honestly, that could have been when it entered it, right? No, because it had to do it at the concert.
But see, is it possible they did it at the ceremony?
What do you mean?
Well, no, because it's all about the entity getting close to you, right?
No, the entity doesn't have to get close to you because it has your mind. It knows everything that you're afraid of.
So, okay, if it knows everything you're afraid of, but so the entity officially wins when it gets you to kill yourself in front of other people, basically. Yeah. Okay, got it.
Well, I guess
that's its purpose, is to overtake you to the point where it makes you kill yourself in front of someone else who will now be your new host.
Yeah. So I don't know. Is it a thing where it's looking for a suitable host? You know what I'm saying?
I don't think so.
I don't know.
I think it's just trying to expand its reach as fast as possible, right? Because if you think about it, okay, what's the timeline of when Lucas Gage's character basically inherits the entity and when he meets Sky? Did they say?
It's a few days. It says the thing gets you within a week.
Thing gets you within a week, right? Okay. So for me, because we don't quite know the timeline, yeah, we don't know the timeline of how quickly the entity ramped up, because I feel like the entity possibly ramped up its its usual plan to make sure that it met that week threshold. And like that's why she immediately starts seeing visions and getting fucked up.
Yeah. I mean,
but I don't know. I don't know. I feel like a week is so quick, but at the same time, like,
I mean, but like you also got to think about like the level of what it's doing though, and it's relentless.
Yeah,
she's in and out of like reality, all the time. So it's like she really doesn't know what's going on, and it's sleep depriving her.
Oh yeah, true. That Freddy Krueger aspect you were talking about, yeah, and also like the jump scares and all that shit. Yeah, she's constantly walking down a hallway. It's like me going to a fucking haunted mansion at a Universal Studios or something like that. It's like, there's a nigga hanging out in the corner that's getting underpaid that wants to scare the fuck out of you because that's all they.
And we all know that you are a scary, scary man. You can't help yourself.
Oh man, the Universal Studios, I was screaming the night of horror or whatever. I was screaming so bad. It was embarrassing.
I don't know. It's hard to really not necessarily break down this film, but like to get a handle on this film because there are so many like turns and things like that where it's really hard for you to lock down like what was actually going on. But to your point is like, because she has this concert coming on, did the thing then hold off? Is just like, that's my time.
Maybe, yeah, because if it escalates too much, right? It's like, well, then you get this person locked up quicker, and then like you don't have the reach that you're looking for.
Yeah.
And so I think that's what's interesting. It's almost like maybe the entity realized they had to hit the jackpot Like, if its goal is not to find the best host, but just impact as many people as possible, almost like a fucking telemarketer. Or like, someone running a Ponzi scheme. They're like, how can I get in front of the most people?
Here's my whale.
Maybe it's just like, oh, well, what do you know? I happen to be the biggest pop star in the world. Okay. It does a little jig.
It's like, time to get my numbers up.
You never know, man. It could be like, that's going to fuck up a lot of shit, man.
Yeah.
A lot of people going to be, it's going to ramp up suicide numbers real quick in the US.
Well, I mean, then it's also just the fact is like, if it did what we think it did, what we saw it kind of do, it just infected like a room full of preteen girls, like teen and preteen girls.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Bro, it's over.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's going to be bad. It's going to be real bad, especially, preteen girls at those at the school dances and shit with all the different themes and the lights. You're going to be seeing all kinds of shit, girls. It's going to be bad. It's going to be bad. You're going to think you're seeing a boy band dancing, and it's just this fucking monster just getting closer to you so it can put itself in your mouth.
So here's
everything I said just sounded wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, it did. I was just like, let's go by this.
Everything I just said was completely insane.
I think the thing that you really need to look at is the fact is, it's like, let's say one of those girls is a popular streamer, right? It's a popular live streamer, because chances are there is other famous people in that. So you just infected at least another 10 famous people.
Yep.
And if one of them gets on live and does something to themselves, millions, just like that.
Game over. Well, that's what's interesting about Smile 3 is like they can go in a bunch of different directions now.
Yeah.
Because you could talk about like, hey, how's this working on a global scale? Or you could just still go back to focusing on one person.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's just so many interesting things they could do now with the sequels. But, R.I.P. Sky Riley. You fought your hardest. But you don't know what you don't know. She didn't know enough.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't know enough about this entity. And it's hard out here.
But it ain't her. Everybody knew. I mean, nobody knew. Nobody knew.
Yeah, because now you have to question how much of her breakdown was actually visible to other people.
Yeah, exactly.
Because all the other escalations, even like you said, the luncheon or regala, whatever that thing is, might have been, a fantasy in her head as well, because it's such an extreme, like she acts so extreme in that that alone would have
tanked her
tour, and they would have locked her up like Britney.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, she at the very least, she would have been put into a fucking
psych ward or something.
Well, not a psych ward.
Overnight
rehab.
Supervision.
Yeah.
Oh,
rehab.
Okay. Rehab.
Yeah. She would definitely they would have put her in rehab, because of that alone.
Yeah. I mean, the hospital stuff was fun. I mean, when she tells I forgot who she said, but she's like, fuck the tour. I was like, oh, that's, that came from the gut right there. But I definitely was like, when the guy was explaining about freezing and, slowing down her heart, I was like, this ain't gonna work.
Yeah.
This ain't gonna work. You know how you slow the heart? Bang. This is too much.
Dum did it. Well, I mean, and also, so if I was that guy, I'd be like, listen, I can fix this. I'm gonna do this, yada yada. But then, like, push comes to shove, is like, I'm just gonna kill you. Because I know it's the only way to stop it.
But like, he doesn't even know that for sure, though. That's the thing. There's so many unknowns about the entity. Like, where does it go once the host dies?
But he the one thing that he does know is that this thing is going to make her kill herself and then go to somebody else. So at that point, it's just like, do what you got to do. Stop it.
That's true. Yeah, because the impact that she ends up having we don't even know. Like we said, we have no idea what the scope of that performance was.
Yeah, and it's also right at the beginning of the so they didn't even get to enjoy any form of show.
Yeah, that'd be rough. That's like if I went to the Michael Jackson concert to himself at MSG, And it starts off with like, you want to be starting something. And halfway through, he just moonwalks right into a fucking microphone that he spins around and stabs himself in your face.
Want to be?
Or like if he's in the middle of Thriller and then he's just like rips off his white face, it's just a bloody skull under it. And he's just like,
Yeah.
come on, smile too.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what he would say. Smile too.
The music was good in this, by the way.
No, it was. It was. The performances were good.
Very believable. It did everything that Trap was trying to do.
Yeah.
With their music artists. See, M. Night, this is why nepotism doesn't always work.
Mm-hmm.
Justin, break down our rating system, baby.
Stop calling me baby. So, guys, you know how we do this. We rate movies bags of popcorn, small, medium, large, and the XL for the exceptional. If a film doesn't deserve any hot, buttery popcorn, we throw it into the stale popcorn pile. We pile piles and piles of stale popcorn on top of it. So, Brandon, we sat down and we watched the 2024 psychological supernatural horror film, Smile 2.
Yeah, we did.
Sequel to the 2022 film Smile, starring Naomi Scott. And that's really who, so she's the one who shines in this.
Yes.
Like, that's all you would need to know. And also, gorgeous woman. What say you, Brandon?
Yeah, this gets a large. Almost an XL. It is one of the better horror sequels I've seen in a long time. And maybe if I rewatch it, I'll bump it up to an XL. But this is a large. Like, as much as I hate jump scares and gore, like extreme gore, this is great. This is executed really well. And like I said at the very beginning, this is how you do a sequel. You make it bigger, badder, and bolder. And that's exactly what Parker Finn did. With the, obviously with a very strong leading performance by Naomi Scott. This movie was just hitting on all cylinders. They were filling themselves. And it'll be interesting to see where they go. Because they have an opportunity to break this story like to a whole new level. They already stepped it up. So they could either stay at this level by doing another, a sequel that just focuses on one person, or they could really be ambitious and go fucking try to tell a bunch of different stories and how this entity works with that, almost like his own Final Destination, maybe something like that. And if he executes it well, we could be talking about one of the best horror trilogies in a long, long time, or one of the best horror series in a long, long time.
Yeah.
Justin, what's your rating?
Yeah, I'm gonna give this an XL.
Boom.
I think it really, for one, expanded the world. It expanded the world. It doubled down on what happened in the first movie. It gave context to what this thing is, and on top of that, that's with an outstanding performance by Naomi Scott. Just a really creepy, tone and intensity that they kept for 2 freaking hours in this film. And on top of that, just like the we have to give props to the FX department who worked on this, because they went in. They really went in. There's not many times where I watched things, it was like, wow, like this, like, yeah, it looks amazing. We talk about, the director did a great job with the cinematography and whatnot, but like this thing just looked phenomenal. And then like all the gore was just, it was really jaw dropping. And in some cases, actual jaws are dropped. But like
they were, yeah.
And Naomi Scott, for a horror film, she acted the hell out of this. And like, yeah, this is kind of, and me also saying that this is very reminiscent of Freddy Krueger. It's Freddy Krueger-esque. I think that Freddy Krueger is like the top of horror. You know what I'm saying? As far as like something that's going to keep you up at night and is really like terrifying, and this is like right there. And so like it's occupying very like high praise as far as space in this genre.
Well, there you have it, folks. Our take on Smile 2.
Deuce.
Great job, Paramount. You actually did something right these past few months. Folks, as always, you can follow me at Frodo_Blackens on Instagram and Threads. You can follow the show, Media P Podcast, on all social media platforms. Be sure to go to youtube.com/Media Popcorn. Push that subscribe button so you get alerted about all future reviews and celebrity interviews we have on the channel. And Justin, if people want to follow you as well, support the show financially, what can they do, my brother?
Guys, you can follow me at Jay Brown Did It on all the social media platforms, but you can support this show at Patreon, patreon.com/medium popcorn. We have $2, $5, $10, and $15 packages. Our entire backlog goes on to Patreon. We have bonus episodes. We have mini shows. Guys, there's so much opportunity to just be entertained and to just engage with us on Patreon. And why aren't you taking advantage of it? So again,
Yeah, man.
patreon.com/medium popcorn.
God damn, come on. You get to win, we get to win, we all win.
Mm-hmm.
And then, we might add another tier with some special shit. Come on. Patreon.com/medium popcorn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because we still got to make those peanuts. I think we really should make some medium popcorn branded peanuts.
To send it over.
Well, we got to start sending him something because he's getting wise that I haven't been sending him my planned shipment. So I got to do something. I got to figure something out. I don't want to get sued. All right, y'all. We'll talk to y'all soon.
Peace.
Peace.